My muffin.
Greetings, I'm Rob Chappers.
And I'm the captain.
And well, I like the way you sang that.
I love singing.
Beautiful. Last video of the day, day one. So far, everything's gone brilliant.
Oh, we have had the luxury of basically just playing really expensive stuff all day long, haven't we?
Yes. And now we get to try out some beautiful Seymour Duncan pedals. And someone asked me earlier, well, what does Seymour Duncan know about making effects pedals? And of course I thought, well, they have spent years and years working on things that work between a guitar and an amplifier. Yeah,
why shouldn't they, to be honest with you? I think they've got some very talented people at that company with some really good ears. And to be honest with you, half of me kind of thinks, do you know what? Electronics really isn't that difficult. What is difficult is having a good ear.
Anyone can do it.
You know, I think you can sit there and go, you know, does that sound good? You know, a guitarist's going to want to use this pedal. And they've done a great job. So we've got 4 of their pedals here. From the pickup booster over on this side here, which is essentially, I'm going to compare it to something like a TC Spark or something. It's designed to not really change the tone of your guitar, but to boost it and fatten it. It claims to be able to make a single coil pickup sound more like a humbucker, so we'll try that out. We got the 805, which is very much in that sort of tube screamer type territory, so an amp with a little bit of gain and boost in there, but predominantly it's going to probably sit in front of a slightly dirty amplifier anyway. The Dirty Deed, which is what cheating men do to their wives normally, but in this particular instance even, it's just a standalone MOSFET kind of sound, gain pedal, distortion pedal. And then we've got the Vapor Trail, which is an analog delay pedal using the Bucket Brigade.
With beautifully sort of innovative flashing tempo knob.
Yeah, absolutely, and I'm sure other knobs as well. So Rob is using his favourite guitar of the day. Oh, actually, that's probably not fair. You've had about 4 guitars today that you've fallen.
Yeah, I loved everything. This is the nicest Telecaster though.
Cool. So I guess, and this is a clean sound through Rob's Silverback.
Well, it's got a tiny hit. If I really hammer it,
I think that's a good sound to work on, because we're going to do the booster and the 805 first. So really, really simple, the booster. A couple of options with this resonant peak switch here to slightly give it a sort of a hump if you want some additional kind of solo boost. But the bulk of what the pedal does is on this gain control here. So
where do you like your hump?
My hump, my lovely lady humps. What was that noise? Did the beer just fart from outside the room and the noise came through a soundproof door?
Yeah.
That must have been epic out there. Anyway, right. So here's without. And here's with.
Stop you there and say that sounds fantastic.
It's fantastic. Yeah, I was just flicking. Those resonant peak controls are pretty subtle, but you can, certainly in the room, you can hear extra frequencies being just sort of dialed in, but in a pretty subtle kind of way.
You know what, from where I'm sat, this knob just covers up the bottom of the B and makes it look like an R. And while I've been sat here, I thought it was called the Pickup Rooster.
Ah, good name.
And the wings were, and I thought that was a great name, and I really enjoyed calling it. And now it's a Pickup Booster. I'm a bit disappointed.
I thought you were going to say that it obscured the B completely. It was called a Pickup Rooster.
That would have been
even better.
Here's a treble pickup. I'm going to have to get me one of those.
Yeah,
That's
so
great.
I found my favourite sound, which is resonant peak number 2 and the gain at about sort of 1 or 2 o'clock. So if Rob does a little... yeah, just so a little bit like that without, and then we'll click it in and you can kind of see what happens.
So...
Yeah, right. To be honest with you, for years and years, guitar player, you know, 1 or 2 brands like that MXR
MC401 boost,
MC401 boost have kind of had that, have almost been like an unknown weapon on loads of guitar players' boards, and other pedal manufacturers had kind of just not really even thought of doing something as simple as a boost. And now it almost seems like everybody, you've got you know, EP boosters, you've got this one, you've got the Spark, you've got, you know, every brand seems to have a boost pedal, and every guitar player seems to be like, well, of course, it's the pedal I would never leave home without.
Yeah.
You sort of go, that's been quite a new sort of thing. But anyway,
give me some 805.
That's very cool. So 805, again, more tube screaming, so more gain, and we also now have a 3-band EQ on this with bass, middle, and treble here. So again, let's just see what this sounds like, and I'll dial in some tones. So without.
Nice.
Yeah, do you know what? The 3-band EQ feels really familiar. It's very much like a 3-band EQ on a guitar amplifier would be. It's not, it doesn't feel like one of these sort of active circuits that almost kind of behaves very differently to that. So it just feels like I'm playing with kind of amp EQ, which is cool. But you keep playing.
It's good. I prefer the booster.
I think they just do different things.
They do, but I think if I was going for this kind of a thing, I would probably go for another thing that did the same thing.
The pickup booster, I think, is really, really important to have an amplifier that wants to be boosted.
Yes.
I think the 805 is probably more of a pedal where you could go, do you know what? Again, a little bit like that Church of Tone pedal that we did recently, where you sort of go, look, if I just stick an 805 in my gig bag and I turn up at a jam night and they just stick me into an amplifier I'm a bit unfamiliar with, I can pop this in front, I can get a drive tone and an EQ setting that I'm fairly familiar with, get some good sounds out of my guitar.
Can we try that in front of a bit more crunch?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, because I think that's what it's probably designed more for.
I think I know what you like.
That's a lot better.
The resonant peak on this.
Yeah.
So on the same time, let's just kick this booster in. The resonant peak on this, I think, was giving you that sort of feedback that you like. That sort of,
yeah.
So let's just try that same thing again, same sound.
No, all it was that I think this is more designed as the top 15% of your crunch that gives you into that slight lead sound, and I felt like I wasn't giving enough crunch from the amp, and that sounded great with just a little bit more crunch. That sounds better for me on the sort of almost clean.
But it's, I think, again, just, we've already, I mean, again, we're kind of lucky here. We've got a good sounding amp. So let's move on to the Dirty Deed.
Done. So I have a clean sound now. And we're going to use the Dirty Deed.
The Dirty Deed. So again, unlike the other two pedals, we're really just driving this into a clean channel to see what kind of...
Really don't like that.
Okay.
I mean, sometimes you got to say what you see, and what I see is this is, in relation to other pedals on the market, I'm not impressed by this. This I absolutely love.
Yeah.
This I think is good.
Yeah.
This I don't like.
Okay, so well, look, you know, tone is subjective.
Yes, it is.
This is a dirty distortion pedal. Why don't we? I think this is your suggestion anyway. Why don't we just see how the amp responds if we have a little bit of, you know, rather than using it over a clean tone? Let's see if we can get a better tone out of it with a driven tone.
I'm in agreement. Let's do that. You never know.
You never know.
You never know, viewers. What did you think of the sound of that?
It wouldn't be a kind of pedal that I would buy, although again I'm hearing lots of guitar bands. It reminded me again a little bit like that kind of Queens of the Stone Agey kind of rumbly, grumbly kind of driven tone, rather than necessarily a classic distortion. If you
I don't know.
what
I mean, yeah. See, for that you go Thunderclaw.
Well, I mean, Thunderclaw was a good review recently, but yeah, it's horses, you know, each to his own and all that.
There's a crunch. Well, I think it's safe to say it's a lot better with the crunch.
Yeah, it overly compresses it for me, I think.
It does. It does.
I mean, if we went back to same sound on the amp and tried these.
It's just
That's
brilliant,
better, isn't it?
Yeah, and put the booster on. Yeah, that's incredible.
Yeah, really like both of these two.
Yeah. So it drops out on the bass notes.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, for my money, I mean, we're honest here. We never cover anything up.
You've got to tell it how it is, and to be honest with you, there'll be another guy doing a demo on this, Keith Merrill or something like that. Will probably make this sound amazeballs, and then you've just got to sit there and go, well, you know, different guitars, different amps, different players.
But lots of reviewers, and I'm not necessarily talking anything about Keith Merrill, but lots of other reviewers will do lots of tricks, and they'll double track, and they'll pre-record, and then they'll play over the top of a recorded, produced, mastered track.
Yeah, no, I just wanted to make the point that you know, there will absolutely be guys that get great tones out of this, but for us in this particular video, Dirty Deed is not showering itself in glory.
But Seymour Duncan shouldn't feel bad because it's okay. But these are great.
Yes,
so
absolutely.
2 out of 3 ain't bad.
No, it's very
Let's
good.
move on to the Vapor Trail.
So the Vapor Trail. So this is an analog delay. So we've got a maximum of 600 milliseconds worth of delay here. Loads of control though. We've got depth, rate. So there's obviously an element of modulation then on these echoes. A delay control, number of repeats and mix. We're going through the effects loop of the Silverback, so we'll add in some delay, some distortion as well. But for now, let's just hear it relatively.
That's quite pleasant.
I may have to refer to a manual because I noticed there's another jack socket on the side of the vapor trail, and I thought, oh, what's that for?
A bit of tap tempo, maybe.
No, it's not. It says wet insert.
Ooh.
Ooh. Insert innuendo alert noise.
Ooh. 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 Ooh.
Ooh. So wet insert, the tip is send, the ring is returned. So what would a wet insert be? An insert point would be typically for sort of looping another effect through this as such. But you know what? Whilst Rob is playing, getting some nice tones and doing perhaps a slightly elongated bit of playing, I'm going to go to the interweb and find out what a wet insert does on a vapor trail.
I'm alright, yeah.
Rob just got some vapor trail in his throat and nearly died.
And that's got
so
suddenly a tickly throat.
Maybe it was one of the feathers from the pickup rooster.
It hit one of those resonant throat frequencies. It's alright. Hazelnut coffee.
It's okay. Well,
that's very nice.
It is cool. I always like a bit of analog delay. I love just the noise of the repeats. So this wet insert socket on the side, a little bit niche, I must admit. It doesn't surprise me that you don't see this very often because I don't suppose many of you will be using this. But you could loop, the idea is using an insert cable or a Y cable, some of you might know that as. You can loop another pedal in that only affects the wet signal of the pedal.
Oh, I see.
I'm guessing, I don't know, maybe another a different chorus pedal or something like that.
So you can put a flange through it.
Possibly, that would then flange just the echoes, if you like.
Yeah.
You can, if you just use a jack lead, a non-stereo jack lead, and come out of it, it will give you a wet direct output. So if you wanted, for example, to just put the wet signal into another amplifier,
that's pretty cool for
some
recording.
sort of a stereo kind of thing, maybe.
Well, that's cool for recording vocals, and because you could just record the delay from the vocal.
Yeah, maybe.
And,
really interesting stuff. And the other thing that again you can put in here is an expression pedal, and that will control the wet levels. In other words, the mix of the delay. So
I think that's a really cool feature.
Yeah, maybe.
And I like the flashing.
It's pretty niche. Yeah. So the flashing shows you that is a visual indication of how how fast the repeats. So I mean, if you're kind of tapping your foot on the floor knowing you want it to be a certain level, although this isn't tap tempo, you can relatively easily kind of visually see when you've got the delay set at the right level. So let's fiddle around with a couple of pedals. Let's do a little...
Well, wait. You haven't played yet,
I haven't played. Maybe I should play. Slowed the delays down there, and my instant reaction was just to play the riff slower. It was almost like something took over in my brain. too much gain. Sound before that was better.
That was everything on.
Oh, isn't that amazing?
Yeah. Sounds good, yeah?
Yeah, to be honest with you, all the way through that, it'll be actually kind of fun because I wasn't really watching what Rob was doing, but there was like, I would say, every minute or 30 seconds or so, something would just come in and it was like, whoa, there's a tone like that, and then it would lose it again.
This works well in conjunction with something else.
Yeah, that's interesting, isn't it? So basically that as a sort of almost to emulate your basic guitar tone.
A bit like the Boiling Pot or the Rock Dog or...
a lot of that rock box range kind of is a bit like that. I think it was the Red Dog was the sort of the one that they kind of you always had on.
Yeah, specifically these two. Like if you start with that.
Let me just turn my booster. Put it back in again. I need this, and I need this as well.
Yeah.
See, look, they've all got some tones, and actually, again, different guitar, different player, different tones.
I don't know. I mean,
stuff happens.
This is the problem when you review pedals in a row, lots of them, because probably if we looked at this one on its own, we probably would have went, it's pretty good.
It's okay. Yeah.
But when you got something really good, and you compare things alongside, it makes it much harder. The competition is.
I had fun with that. I suppose I should try and tell you how much these pedals cost, because that's an important part of the. Does it get the thumbs up from Chappers or not?
No one cares if I give a thumbs up.
Well, that's true.
It's about whether they like it or not.
They are. Oh, hang on a second. He says, just trying to find. Where's the search box? Oh, it's over here. Search.
How much is the pickup booster?
They are. That's £99.
Ooh.
And the 805 and the Vapor Trail are £149, and the Dirty Deed is £129. Which, to be honest with you, is pretty cheap for a Dirty Deed these days.
And where are they made out of?
They are assembled in Santa Barbara.
In Santa Barbara,
California, which probably means the guts are made somewhere else. But the assembly, the assembly is where the magic happens, ish. So I like them. They're nice looking. We like the guys at Seymour Duncan. To be honest.
They're great.
They make great pedals.
Yeah.
They've always Keith. Whenever I had a question for him, he's always back with an answer. Really, really helpful answer as well. He's a real, they know their stuff over there.
Well, they make
good
great
guys.
pickups.
They make great pickups. In fact, look, perhaps that's why this guitar sounds so good. It's because it is, in fact, a Seymour Duncan loaded Strat. And the pickups in here, in fact, even advised on by Keith Merritt. I said, Keith, I'm doing this to a guitar. What pickup should I put in it?
He might have a point.
He went these.
They like some Duncans in them.
They like Duncan. Yeah, I knew a girl. I went to school with a girl that liked a bit of Duncan in her.
Okay. Good to know. I've been Rob Chapman.
And I've been the captain.
We bid you farewell.